Imagine a land where time stands still, where ancient traditions defy modernity, where tribes live untouched by the outside world, and where the very roots of humanity began. This is Ethiopia, one of the most isolated, misunderstood, and breathtaking countries on Earth. A country 4 times the size of the UK. But what's life really like here? Why do some call it the cradle of civilization, while others see it as a place frozen in time? Today, we journey deep into the heart of Ethiopia to uncover its secrets, beauty, and struggles. This is life in the world's most isolated nation. Ethiopia isn't just another African country, it's the birthplace of humanity. In 1974, scientists discovered Mursi, a 3.2 million-year-old hominid skeleton, proving humans first walked here. But Ethiopia's history goes beyond fossils. It's home to Aksum, a lost kingdom that once rivaled Rome, and the Ark of the Covenant, said to be hidden in a small chapel in Aksum. Oldest human remains, Mursi's discovery rewrote human history. The Aksumite Empire, which minted its own coins and built towering obelisks. It is important to know that Ethiopia is the only uncolonized African nation, defeated Italy in 1896, keeping its independence. While the world races forward, Ethiopia's tribes live as they have for thousands of years. The Surma people stretch their lips with clay plates, a sign of beauty. The interesting fact about it is that the larger the plate, the higher the dowry. The Hamar tribe performs a brutal bull-jumping ceremony, where men must sprint across the backs of bulls to prove manhood. If you fail, then you're shamed for life. And the Mursi warriors still carry AK-47s, not for war, but for status. This is Danakil Depression, the hottest, lowest, and most hostile place on Earth. Temperatures hit 60 degrees Celsius. With acid pools, active volcanoes, the Erta volcano has boiled for over 100 years, and scorching heat. NASA calls it the closest thing to Mars. Yet, the Afar people mined salt here as their ancestors did, risking their lives for $5 a day as camels carry slabs of salt for 100 kilometers to sell. In the 12th century, Ethiopia's King Lalibela returned from exile with a divine vision to build a new Jerusalem after Muslim conquests blocked Christian pilgrimages to the Holy Land. The result? 11 churches carved 40 feet underground, not built upward, but downward, chiseled into the living rock by hand. Legend claims angels worked alongside masons, finishing each church in a single night. Why underground? Protection from invaders and scorching sun. What other symbolic layout? The churches are arranged to mirror biblical Jerusalem. Jordan River equals a trench filled with holy water. Local priests swear some tunnels stretch to Israel, though none dare explore them fully. The elderly priests will say, "This place was made by God's hands." Each church is a single block of stone, hollowed out with nothing but iron chisels and hammers. No mortar. No scaffolding. Just 40 years of back-breaking labor. The most famous, Bet Georgis, St. George's, is a perfect cross-shaped church sunk into a 30-foot pit. But how did they dig so precisely without modern tools? Some theorists whisper divine intervention, or even ancient alien technology. Here are mind-blowing details. Ventilation shafts, hidden ducts keep air flowing in windowless chambers. Acoustic magic, priest's chants echo unnaturally, as if amplified by the stone itself. Unexplained drainage. Even in heavy rains, the churches never flood. Lalibela isn't a museum, it's a living shrine. Priests still conduct Mass in Ge'ez, a dead language unchanged since Jesus' time. Pilgrims crawl through pitch-black tunnels, symbolizing Christ's tomb, to emerge reborn. And once a year, thousands gather to reenact biblical scenes with torchlight processions that turn the cliffs into a sea of fire. Some churches guard chains said to bind demons, and each church hides a replica of the Ark of the Covenant. No nails are allowed. Restoration on the churches uses only wooden pegs, as in Solomon's temple. Time and tourism are eroding Lalibela. Centuries of candle smoke have blackened frescoes. Earthquakes threaten to collapse tunnels. UNESCO now spends millions to prop up the churches with hidden steel beams, a controversial faked solution for a fake Jerusalem. But locals fear, if the churches die, so does Ethiopia's soul. Here is the modernization clash. Young priests want electricity, elders call it sacrilege. In 1984, an apocalyptic famine struck Ethiopia. Images of skeletal children with hollow eyes flooded global TV screens. Over 1 million people starved to death, while the world watched. But this wasn't just a natural disaster, it was man-made. A brutal communist regime, the Derg, hid food stocks to crush rebel regions. When musicians like Bob Geldof organized Live Aid, the money often lined officials' pockets. To this day, 1984 is a cursed number here. This is an act of weaponized hunger. The Derg blocked food aid to Tigray and Wollo to punish dissent. And then the Western complicity. The USSR backed the Derg, the US turned a blind eye during the Cold War. Survivors still whisper about eating leather belts and tree bark to survive. Ethiopia's modern history is written in blood. The Derg fell in 1991, replaced by rebels who ruled for 27 years, until Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed promised democracy. But in 2020, war exploded again in Tigray. Massacres, rape camps, and starvation sieges shocked the UN. Over 600,000 died. Today, a fragile peace holds, but Ethiopia's wounds are still raw. Some of the key conflicts are the Tigray War, 2020 to 2022, Ethiopia plus Eritrea versus Tigray rebels. Atrocities on all sides. Oromo protests, the largest ethnic group demands equality. Eritrea's ghost. Dictator Isaias Afwerki fuels chaos to keep Ethiopia weak. You can call this Africa's Yugoslavia, an ethnic powder keg. Yet amid the pain, Ethiopia is reinventing itself. Addis Ababa is now Africa's diplomatic capital, hosting the African Union. A Chinese-built metro snakes past $1 billion towers. Tech startups bloom in Sheba Valley. And the coffee that once fed slaves now fuels a $3 billion export empire. Ethiopia is Africa's fastest-growing economy, 10% GDP growth pre-war. Sahle-Work Zewde breaks gender barriers to become the first female president. The homegrown airlines like Ethiopian Airlines flies to more cities than any African carrier. The nation's young entrepreneurs will say, "We're done being pitted. We're building." But Ethiopia's boom hasn't reached everyone. 80% of people still farm by hand, earning $2 a day. Inflation hits 35%. And ethnic violence simmers, because in a land of 80 tribes, progress for one group often means oppression for another. The $5 billion dam, Grand Renaissance Dam, could power all of East Africa, or spark war with Egypt. Another disturbing fact is that about 40% of girls marry before 15 in rural areas. And of course the brain drain. Doctors flee to Europe, leaving one physician per 10,000 people. Through it all, Ethiopia's soul survives. This is the land that birthed the Rastafari faith, where marathon champions train at 8,000 feet, and where monks have guarded illuminated Bibles since the 5th century. As the saying goes, when spiders unite, they can tie down a lion. Here are the symbols of resilience. Injera diplomacy, enemies share sourdough bread to make peace. The Habesha time, clock start at sunrise, because Ethiopians march to their own rhythm. And fact you should never forget, Ethiopia were never colonized, a point of fierce pride. Ethiopia is a land of extremes, ancient yet evolving, isolated yet resilient. It's a place where the past and present collide, where beauty and hardship walk hand in hand. So, is Ethiopia the most isolated place on Earth? Or is it a hidden gem waiting to be understood? The answer lies in how you see it. Like and share if you learned something new. Subscribe for more untold stories.